Do you know that feeling when you're cruising with Hyperion and then accidentally hold block for too long and activate the regen? There goes your ramp up. But as bad as that feels, imagine a more complicated champion with harder to achieve and less potent Furies who also has the ability to completely botch the ramp up you've been working for and go back to square one. And oh yeah, he doesn't even get a regen buff as a consolation prize. Speaking of cosmics, you know when you are building to that perfect special 2 with CGR but you accidentally dex? Pretty annoying, right? What if I told you there was a champ in the game that has an even more stressful build up to his big special 2, and if you do manage to thread the needle so you have 5 Furies, an unblockable buff, and 2 bars of power at the same time, you can unleash a special 2 within a 3-second window of this aligning of the planets that is about, one half as potent as CGR Special 2. Hey, it might be a weaker Special 2, but at least it took 5 times as long to set up. Here's another one for you. You know that node Thermostat? Yeah, certainly one of the most annoying nodes in the game. Well, what if I told you there is a champ whose core playstyle is basically that node? But even if you manage it perfectly, you have to live with the knowledge that everything you have built up will all disappear partway through the fight. And if you got bad crit luck on one of your incredible special 2s, all of it was a waste. Okay, so who is this champ? If his damage rotation is that annoying, he must have some kind of utility, right? Let's see. No immunities and... oh, look! True Strike! That is, a True Strike so short and inconvenient to activate, it makes pre-buff Karnak look like Odin. And oh, he has Unblockable, but you actually don't want to get the Unblockable except for a very, very specific moment of the fight. And, by the way, it only lasts 3 seconds. This is a guy whose heavy attack doesn't even have a description box because it literally does nothing. Okay, so I'm obviously talking about the MCOC fan favorite champ to hate Nova. One of the most disappointing and now forgotten cosmic attackers from 2020, who was clearly designed to be an annoying defender and a total nothing on offense. But today we ask the question, is he really as bad as people say he is? We've learned to fight him on defense, and that is about the end of it. Perhaps sadder than all of this is his recent update, in which saying value only update would actually be upselling what they did, as barely anything changed. What if I told you he actually is pretty bad? However, at the same time, he is one of the most fun champs in the game to play. That is, as long as the goal is having fun and experimenting, not actually winning fights. Welcome to episode 1 of a new monthly series, Bad Champ Reviews, where we take the most hated champs of MCOC, tell you why they are bad, take them out for a spin, and then come up with ways that they can be improved. Today's episode features Nova. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel and to the first episode of Bad Champ Reviews, where we're going to take an in-depth look at Nova. I am very excited about starting this series. I'm going to be making about one video a month during the Alliance War off season, where we take a look at a fairly recent champ or an updated champ and take a look at their kit. I'm mostly looking for champions that have somewhat complex kits that just don't quite fit together. So for example, we're not going to be doing a bad champ review of OG Iron Man because he just doesn't have enough to critique, if that makes sense. So before we get started, I would love for you to leave a comment and give me some suggestions for future champs that you want to see on this series. Additionally, I'll probably be doing a poll in the near future. So let's get started. I'm going to start this clip right about now. And first, we're just going to do a damage test. So everything I said in that opening is fairly correct. Basically, you want to be building Furies with him, but you also want to be managing your Nova charges, and then you want to not be getting to the unblockable until it's the perfect moment to throw a special 2. So as you can see, as we dash forward, it's creating the extra Nova charges. So we're doing a lot of parry, one hit, parry again. We got our first Fury. We cancel it out with 2 mediums, which basically will remove 25 charges so that you can once again get to about 75. Right there, we threw a special 1 at the perfect time so that we did get another Fury. We also get an energize buff, and that also drains some of our power, but more importantly, it allows us to get under 75 once again. So now we're getting very close to our Fury cap. The goal is to get to 5 Furies and then go unblockable and throw a big special 2, but you do have to kind of hope that the opponent dies from it. So we barely got that one. We have the 5. We're going to try to get to 100 charges so that we can get this unblockable buff. We don't want to get to a special 3. And as you can see, that did some pretty big damage. It was about 72k, but it didn't kill him. And because it didn't kill him, we lost everything that we had built up. No chance of building Nova charges. We only have the 1 Fury. And, you know, this is not an opponent that has like a ton of health. CGR would have killed him in that 1 special 2. And you can see even there where, as I said before, the planets did align, we still couldn't kill the opponent with 1 special 2. So that's one of the big drags about using him. Next, we're going to go into Cav EQ. I tried to pick a quest where we could really showcase him in a way that he gets enhanced. So these nodes in the Cosmic Quest are going to be giving him some aptitudes as he stacks his Furies, which is going to increase his damage. But we're going to see there are some problems that, you know, will typically occur when you play him. So as it is, it's just such a like janky style of playing, like in, out, parry, you know, and it's just a lot to manage. So we have 2 Furies. We just got our 3rd Fury. I'm worried, like I have a special 2. I don't want to be getting to a special 3. We have 4. So I'm feeling like I should just throw this thing. We get the Nova Surge, which means that our ability to build up the Nova charges is going a little bit faster. So now we get to 75 and we have all the Furies with these aptitudes. I'm actually hitting pretty hard, and I'm not going to get to the, you know, stars aligning for our massive special 2, but that was a 13k crit to get her down at the end. So that was about as smooth of a Nova fight as you could expect. What I want to show you next is what happens when you accidentally get to the special 3. So I took some hits, which is very easy to do because the play style is so weird with the dashing in and out. And as you can see, I just got too much power. I wasn't really thinking what I was doing. So what I did want to test here is a little bit of what happens when we do the special 3. You do get a big burst of damage, and you're able to kind of see how much that does. We have 5 aptitudes, so this should be an absolutely immense special 3. We have 5 Furies, we have the unblockable, we have 5 aptitudes, so surely this war machine is going to die, right? Well, spoiler alert, he doesn't quite die. We even get a burst of damage at the end. That will kill him though. So it is pretty nice to see those big numbers, but it was, you know, not even 50k, which I feel like a fully ramped up Nova on a node that enhances him, you would kind of want that to work out, wouldn't you? So next up, we're going to look at this Old Man Logan fight. This is another fight where I feel like something went wrong. Essentially what we did here is we lose our Fury. So I want to kind of show you what that looks like when we're going and everything's going fine, but then the opponent starts to be a little bit passive and we get in a little bit of trouble. So we're starting off the fight the same way, dashing in and out, trying to get to 75. Not too bad so far. We still only have 1 Fury, so it is going a little slower than the last couple of fights, but there we go. We cancel it out with medium. Moving forward, keep going. Beta special, we have 3 Furies. Now we're getting close to 4 Furies. Once again, just trying to cross that threshold with 75. We have 2 aptitudes, and I think I throw a special 2. I don't fully recall. Yeah, we throw the special 2, get the Nova Surge. So this is looking a lot like the fight that we had with Storm. I'm trying to get back up to a special 2, but as you can see, those Furies are very slowly ticking away. They only last for 10 seconds, and because he just sort of held block there, I lost it all. So that's an example of what happens happens when, if the opponent isn't being aggressive enough, you will just completely lose to Furies. And in this last fight, we're just going to see about this True Strike buff that he has. It's a very, very short True Strike buff. With the Sig ability, it could potentially be a lot longer, but you do need to invest a lot of Sig stones in him. That's kind of a theme with Nova as well, is like maybe if he had max Sig, that he would be a good champion because the Furies would last a little bit longer and the True Strike would actually be usable. But the True Strike comes off of the Special 1, but you need to have over 75 charges. So we're going to use the Special 1 to cancel out 25 Nova charges and get that True Strike. But as you can see, it's so short that we basically are able to get one combo during the shield mode of Darkhawk, and then that's it. So, I mean, I guess that's okay because we prevented the auto block, which is what you want the True Strike to do. But in doing this, we're kind of sacrificing our damage. I haven't had more than 2 Furies at a time yet. Once again, we get the True Strike, but he throws that Special 1. You'll notice by the time we can start hitting him, it's basically over. So we get one combo in, and now we can't hit him because he's still in shield mode. And, our Furies are getting kind of low again. We managed to get to 4 somehow. Throw that. I mean, this is about as smooth of a fight with the True Strike as we could get, but because I didn't have 75 charges there, it didn't proc at all. So now we just have to wait this out like any other champ. So yeah, in terms of being a True Strike champ, it's really not that easy. And right there, we lost all our Furies again. So basically, we need to completely sacrifice damage if we're going to play this way. We got unblockable. Okay, so great. He has unblockable. That's pretty good for dealing with an opponent that has auto block, sure. But as you can see, there's just a lot going on here to manage. And we were never able in the CAV-EQ to get that magical Special 2 that did appear during the Deadpool fight. And I will also say during the Deadpool fight, it really took like 8 takes to finally get that thing to look right and for it to crit. We had many other takes where we got there and it didn't crit, so I had to throw out the recording, or we didn't even get there. We pushed ourselves to a Special 3, we lost our Furies, we didn't manage our charges correctly. There's just a lot working against you when you're playing Nova currently, and that's why in the next section of this video, we're going to be looking at a few suggested improvements so that he can be a better champion in the future. Alright, so now that we've taken a pretty in-depth look at Nova, I do want to just make a couple suggestions to the character design that I think would improve him and make him more playable. Now these are suggestions I'm making based on the things that I've just tested and the things that annoyed me the most, but I'm also considering trying to keep his champ identity and generic playstyle that they gave him without making him too overpowered. So my first improvement would be knockdown with a heavy attack refreshes all buffs. As we mentioned earlier, his heavy attack has no utility to it, and kind of like how Reed Richards has the ability to knock down the opponent and refresh the debuffs, I think there could be a way on your heavy attack to refresh the buffs. Certainly in some matchups, you can't always get heavy attacks. If it's stun immune, it means you need to play a little bit more skillfully, and I do believe this should only be the heavy attack, not on all knockdowns. I think that would be a pretty balanced way to keep those Furies from falling off. Secondly, I would like to replace the Nova Surge buff on the Special 2 with an Aptitude buff, and the value and duration TBD. The Nova Surge buff actually sometimes is counterproductive because you end up building Nova charges faster than you can manage them, so I actually don't love that buff, but we did notice in the CAV-EQ that having Aptitudes greatly increased his damage, and there are a lot of Cosmic Champions with Aptitudes, and it gives him another buff to play with, so I would love to see that. And lastly, I would like on Special 3, all buffs are converted into a Nova Surge passive for 25 seconds, adding 25% attack per buff. So basically what that does is if you are building up your buffs with the Special 1 and with your Furies and you're using your heavy attacks to refresh them, you can get to a big Special 3 that converts them to a passive that adds damage. Additionally, if you have 1 to 4 buffs converted on this Special 3, lock in at 50 Nova charges for the duration of the passive. At 50, there is certain utility, but it's not as good as the utility at 75. So at 5 to 7 buffs, lock in at 75 Nova charges. And then finally, if you can get 8 or more buffs locked in when you throw the special 3, then you will stay at 100 Nova charges, which means if you do this ramp up, which will take a little bit of time and skill, you'll actually have 100 Nova charges and be unblockable for 25 whole seconds, meaning that you're going to have basically like a 200% damage increase from the Nova Surge passive that I'm inventing here, and you're unblockable. I don't think that's unreasonable because there's champions like Nick Fury that can basically go unblockable for the entire fight, or Aegon, obviously. So we're talking about a 25 second where you have a massive damage increase, where you don't have to manage your Nova charges, and where you're unblockable and can just go ham on the opponent. So that's what I would love to see to improve this champion. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And also, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you have any suggestions for bad champ reviews in the future, please leave a comment. I'll probably do a poll in the future as well. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.